Hi everyone, thanks for joining. So my name's Tom Acorn. I run our emerging market segment here at NetSuite for our software, services, and advertising, media, and publishing verticals. My whole group is solely focused on working with companies that are small but fast growing and looking to improve the way that they operate. I'd say the majority of our deals are happening in, hopefully, a space that resonates with a lot of you folks in the audience, with companies that are pre-revenue up to around that $5 million in annual revenue mark, and typically organizations with 25 employees or fewer. What I'm noticing when I'm out in the market talking to our prospective clients and our customers is that it's easier than ever today to start a business, but on the flip side, it's more difficult and a bigger challenge than ever to scale and grow that business. And when I'm talking to these people about their challenges, where they hurt, how we can potentially help, it really amounts to one thing. They're looking to eliminate the barriers that are preventing them from growing. And those barriers can be any number of things. It could be global expansion, like the guys were talking about earlier. It could be having to do more with less. Or it could be something as broad as, hey, I want to stop worrying about the boring things, boring parts of my business and focus on doing things that are going to make me successful, like developing new product lines, acquiring new customers, and so forth. So what we're going to do today is spend a little bit of time talking about 5 ways that everybody in this room, myself included, can start growing their business today. Is everybody good with that plan? All right, cool. First, just a couple of points about us. So NetSuite, when we say we're the largest cloud ERP provider in the world, we mean it. So over 40,000 organizations are currently using our platform to run their business, which is something we're really excited about. In our fiscal year 2017 that ended in May, we added just over 3,000 new customers to that customer base, which is really exciting. That was the largest customer acquisition year we've ever had. And with that many customers, no matter where you are in the world, chances are that there's a NetSuite customer close by. So a couple of years ago, we launched something called Suite Success. And really what that is, it's a go-to-market strategy based on industry. So what we're giving to our customers is a completely pre-configured instance of NetSuite designed for their specific industry. So as part of that Suite Success strategy, really with the pre-configured piece, if you're a perfect fit for Suite Success, it's really a matter of bringing your data in, doing some training, and you're off and running. Now, we do have a lot of customers who will do some configuration and customization around the edges, but for the most part, it's a much stronger starting point on our system that our customers have ever had. As part of the Suite Success offering and this go-to-market strategy, we developed these stairways. So here's an example of the one that we've done for software companies. It's really a guide that it's kind of starting small, and then with what you can consume as a small business, and then we're growing with you and adding functionality and expanding your footprint as you grow. We've really found that that's a much more successful implementation strategy as opposed to biting off more than you can chew and trying to do everything all at once, which can lead to long implementations, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. So we found kind of starting small and growing into the platform is the preferred strategy. And the result of that is we're delivering the vast majority of these projects in 100 days or less. So we're doing it in a couple months as opposed to years, which is typical for the industry. And in my group, I've seen instances where we've got customers live in 2 or 3 weeks, which is something that's really exciting for us. And lastly, one of the things that we're really proud of as an organization is our track record with publicly traded companies. So if you look at the IPOs across all industries in 2017, just about a third of those were NetSuite customers. If you narrow the focus and just talk exclusively about technology IPOs going back to 2011, it's actually just north of 2/3 of those were NetSuite customers. So going public on NetSuite is a well-worn path. We've done it a million times before, and really what our goal is, and my whole job, is about getting customers onto the platform when they're small, growing and scaling with them until they're multi-billion-dollar publicly traded organizations. And that's our charter, and that's what gets me excited. With that, I would like to call up one of the customers who's currently on this growth journey with us. Not only are they a valued customer and partner, we're also a customer of theirs. So we use their technology so that our users can collaborate with different document types. I'd like to please welcome to the stage Derek Gerber, Global Head of Marketing for ActivePDF.
All right, so just a few words on ActivePDF, who we are, what we do. There's a good chance you've seen our logo somewhere. If you've ever used a PDF document in your life, there's a really good opportunity that you've actually used our technology without even knowing it. So again, just a little by the numbers to kind of follow suit. ActivePDF, global leading PDF software and digital transformation provider. What does that mean? It means that developers, product managers, CIOs, CTOs, and even the CEOs come to us when they have challenges and pains that resolve around .NET PDF, again, digital transformation, OCR data capture, and a number of other automation and workflow processes. So they come to us to help solve those pains and business inefficiencies. And again, with what a great partnership that we have with NetSuite, we help hundreds of thousands, if not millions of end users use our technology and again, work across different industries. So we've had 30,000 successful different deployments around the globe. We've had over 10 million satisfied end users of their clients on the back end of it, and we've processed billions of pages. But one of the reasons that we're up here is not only to embrace our partnership, we're very grateful, very thankful for the opportunity to work with Oracle NetSuite, but by implementing NetSuite about 5 years ago, it's helped us grow about 45% in the last 5 years. And that's something that we look to continue with moving on. So again, if you've seen our logo, you may have seen us around in some of these different areas. If you go to a Ducks game or you're watching the golf, that you're into that, we do a number of other local charities that help out the community, but we're very involved, and if you ever want to get in touch with me to figure out how you can also help, please let me know. So back to you, my friend.
So while we were preparing for this presentation, Derek and I have the luxury of getting to work with a lot of, like I was saying, really exciting high growth companies. And we put our heads together and we try to figure out, okay, what are 5 ideas, to my point earlier, that everybody in the room, ourselves included, can start putting into action today that'll ultimately result in the growth of their business. So these are the 5 we came up with. So number 1, schedule a checkup. Number 2, utilize existing resources. Measure, organize, plan, and repeat. Establish thought leadership, and take extreme accountability. So let's dig into these. Derek, the first one, I love this idea of running a checkup on your business, right? So trying to figure out where are your aches and pains, where are the sicknesses, how do we treat them? Can you talk a little bit about what a checkup looked like for ActivePDF?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a great question because I think that there are a lot of people here, especially at this event, who all come out super excited. If you start running around the room and they want to connect with everybody and start passing out business cards and this and that, and that's where your talent and your passion can really take over. But at some point, as you're growing, you're going to need to look at the numbers and schedule that type of checkup, whether it be on a weekly, a monthly, a daily basis, quarterly basis. For whatever you're looking to track, you have to make sure that you sit down and diagnose the pains that you're going through. And that's something that we had to do about 5 years ago. And so we'll talk more about some of those challenges, but at the end of the day, you have to pick a time, you have to commit to that, and you have to find a way to constantly measure and organize the data that's most important to you so you can make strategic business decisions.
And one of the things that we were talking about the other day, it's when you're doing that checkup, kind of projecting out 1, 3, 5 years into the future. So figuring out where your business wants to go, and then identifying, hey, here are the hindrances or the barriers to growth, like I was talking about before, that can keep us from getting there. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about some of those goals and some of those challenges that you realized?
Well, so when you sit down, you want to look at it. Everybody wants to grow, but what does that mean? Does that mean you're going to grow by 10% next year? Is that boring to you? You want to grow by 50%? You want to grow by 200%? You have to find those numbers and the data that's right for you when you establish your business process and how you stand out in the market. So whether you're extremely small or you're really large, working with a solid partner like NetSuite or ActivePDF, again, these companies are helping automate and helping companies do more than ever before. But again, you got to track those stats. You got to find out what's important to you.
So I guess a natural next question. So what kind of stuff is important to you guys? So you talk about statistics and reporting and talk to us a bit about that.
When we talk about growth, we obviously mean revenue. Revenue is always important. We get it. So we don't take a lot of time and energy to not go make money. That's the whole purpose of what you're trying to accomplish in your business. But some of the other things that you may want to keep an eye on that we started focusing on, especially, is cash in, cash out. So cash flow processes, P&L. From a sales and marketing perspective, yes, revenues and opportunities, but how are the leads and marketing qualified leads, sales qualified leads, open opportunities, closed won, closed lost? How do those all relate to one another? How do we pull the stats from those that help us make, again, those better business decisions on the fly? So there are really an infinite number of stats you can look at, but you really got to start diving down into what's most important to you and helping your business grow in the next 1, 3, 5 years out.
Now, do you have some kind of system that gives you visibility into those types of metrics?
Well, I think that's what's really fun about NetSuite, and we'll talk about it more in a second too, but NetSuite is really flexible, powerful, and dynamic for us. So everyone has, again, their own challenges, and everyone's like, oh, my challenges are so unique, but sometimes you just need one tool to help fix all those pains. And we found that with NetSuite. And just to touch back on your point from earlier, you were saying that it's really common for companies to adopt it, learn a little bit more about it, expand it out, and that's what we actually did. We had a bunch of different systems, 7 different island systems, and we were trying to get all that important data, right? And when it was just impossible. I mean, it would take hours and a lot of manual effort, but now utilizing the tools inside of NetSuite makes it a lot easier for us to just generate automated reports and create dashboards that help us just make those strategic business decisions on the fly.
One of the challenges that growth companies are faced with is having to do more with less. So that's one of the barriers that I come across all the time. Can you talk a little bit about how you guys really stretched the resources that you had?
Yeah, and to touch upon what I was saying is that we had a lot of different systems, and that's what happens as you're growing. You start going, I need a system for this, I need something to do this, something to do that, and then all of a sudden you have a bunch of stranded data that's hidden across multiple systems, and you do your best to make the most logic out of it and pull it all together. But it's really a lot easier when it all comes down into one place. And so when we expanded our use of NetSuite, it started out as a financial system. But then we've gone, oh, well, it could actually do these other things that these 3 other systems are trying to accomplish. So we knocked those out. So I mean, really at the end of the day, it's kind of obvious that not only can we grow our company and measure that revenue and the cash flow and the leads and all this and that, but at the end of the day, we know that we can trust NetSuite to provide us accurate data that works across multiple departments. So sales, marketing, finance, everything else in between is now fully synced into NetSuite, and NetSuite has become the backbone of our business.
So you've been talking about how you guys use NetSuite. I guess on the flip side, can you talk about how you work with your customers who are looking to maybe do more with less?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the challenges as we were growing is you thought, 30,000 different successful implementations. How do you track something like that? How do you scale and almost double your business and still keep, handling all those things? And that was one of the challenges and pains that we were facing before we engaged NetSuite. How do we keep in touch with these people? How do we track all of our different engagements? Instead of just, being transaction takers, here, give me your money, we wanted to become more than that. We wanted to become technology advisors, consultants that you could truly trust and work, in a partnership like we do, but at the end of the day, still make it a personable touch. And, it is something that's really challenging. We all face it, but then you have to have the investment into a system that's going to help you do those things.
So this is one that we actually spend a lot of time on. So you guys would be amazed how many times I'll talk to prospective clients or existing customers, and they'll say, Derek said before, everybody wants to grow, right? So we'll talk about, hey, where do you want to be in 2 years, right? And it'll be, okay, we want to achieve 100% year-over-year growth in the next 2 years.
These things seem obvious, but it's more often than not do we find ourselves forgetting these basic principles. And again, as you move forward, it's so easy to get wrapped in, I got 5 meetings today, I've got this, I got that. There's no way I could take time to crunch these numbers. But you have to make that time if you're truly going to be invested in growing beyond just the 2-year spark and flame out. And that's what we try to avoid with our clients, but then also with NetSuite, it makes it easy for us to continue on our digital transformation journey ourselves and how we handle all this data and then again take action on it at the end of the day. So again, when you do all these things, you need to put it on the repeat cycle. You have to do it. You have to set that discipline for yourself in order to say, you know what, every Friday, every Tuesday, every month, once a quarter, I don't care what it is, put it on the calendar and don't waver off of that. You say, I can't come in, I have to do this, this is what's going to be my #1 priority. And when you start doing that, it's easy to see whether you're failing or not, and that's okay. You should be embracing failure. And there's no way to measure that if you're not picking what stats are important to you. So when we come down to those measure, organize, plan, repeat, I mean, it's really about discipline at that point. No one really cares about your opinion or what your belief is. Let the data tell the story, and NetSuite is a system that helps us do that.
So establish thought leadership. So this is another one that I hear a lot of companies, they want to be thought leaders. We certainly do, you guys do. Can you talk a little bit about when that moment, that kind of aha moment to establish yourselves as thought leaders and what the importance of that was?
Yeah. Well, again, back to having everything as a centralized system, the backbone of our business. Every department can see what's happening with inside of an account based off of different administrative settings. You have different rights to see different things, which is cool about NetSuite. It's really flexible with our business. Everyone every day knows what's going on with different clients, and that's really important because we're talking about that personal relationship. And I think we all have the interwebs in our pocket on our cell phones, and it's all really exciting. But I think you've all read those different reports and seen on the TV about how we're all losing that personal touch with one another. We rely so much on automation and instant gratification that we do tend to forget, like, oh wow, people are looking for that friendly helpful, insightful information out there. And I think more often than not, especially in marketing, what we're guilty of, and I have to challenge myself with this too, but go out there into the market and don't just say, hey, give me your money and buy this because I said so. Don't come to us and just buy our PDF technology because it's the best, but because you have that relationship with us. And I think that you and I both agreed on when we were talking about this and putting it together is that people don't buy technology these days. They buy relationships with people. And I think that's what's really important. So you can have the best software in the world, the best hardware, whatever it may be, but at the end of the day, it's really about what kind of relationship you have with those people that helps you go and help you expand and go do more business together.
Take extreme accountability. So I think this is probably the most self-explanatory growth tip. Can you just talk about some ways that you force yourself to be accountable?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, when it comes back to especially thought leadership, it's so easy to get behind. And what does that mean? I mean, again, with thought leadership, about creating that content that people can engage with and go, look, this person isn't just trying to sell me something. They really do care about solving my pains, about getting to that level, again, of personal relationship with that person, but then also right there, right in front of them, saying, here's how we can help you without coming off too strong. And so when we come to this extreme accountability part, I know from NetSuite and tracking that data that people are eager for that type of content. With NetSuite, now we can track and actually on the fly know exactly what content is coming out, and we're often 1,500% more than the average conversion rate when it comes to opened emails and content. But then when we put something out there that isn't quite right, that is comes off a little funny, we hear about it and we can track the stats and take ownership on it and go do it. So to wrap up some of the thoughts here, it's like you really have to get down to the nitty-gritty in order to make those tough business decisions that are going to help you grow. So I challenge myself and everyone else in this room to take action now. Don't wait. If you have digital transformation pains, then come talk to us, right? You need a system that you can rely on that's going to grow with your business, cut costs, help increase revenue, and do all those things. Then you need to come by the table and talk to us. But if you're not taking those actions, then you're not going to change. A lot of people here are all excited, but it's really about what you're going to do next. No excuses to go get those things done.
Cool. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much all we had. So we've got a sales guy and a marketing guy who kind of collaborated and figured out 5 of these growth tips. I'd love to hear anybody's thoughts. Like Derek said, we'll be around. If you've got suggestions, things that you think could have made our list, we'd be happy to discuss it. But thanks for having us, and yeah, we'll see you out there.